I'd like to tell you a story about someone I only met for a matter of maybe 2 minutes about 35 years ago. I went to an orphanage to adopt a child, to make a selection. While I was there, children were crying and jumping about, and I moved among the beds and I would touch the children and they'd stop crying. But I got to one crib where the child was not crying. She lay still on her back, not one movement. I asked the nurse what was the matter with her because she was making a slight sound, not like a cry, but like a moan. The nurse said something that I'll never forget. She has decided to die. What? When I was approximately 40, I had raised 3 biological children. We were living in Panama. My husband was in the military, an Army bandsman, when I talked to him one night about adoption for the first time. We had visited a friend who had a little boy, and we had talked and come home tired and went to bed fairly early. And lying in the dark, I started talking to my husband about adoption. Finally, he said to me, "You know, Carrie, your health isn't the best. We were at Dee Dee's house and little Barney was throwing peanut shells all over the living room she had just cleaned. I just can't see you having to go through that. Little kid messing up what you do and you falling behind them. We raised 3 kids. We really don't need to adopt any children." I said, "Oh, I understand what you're saying. I understand it perfectly because you were raised by 2 very good parents who loved you. And I just have one question. When you leave this life and you go to the Abha kingdom, as Baha'is call heaven, and you are faced with Baha'u'llah and God, and they say to you, we had children without a home, no parents, no one to care for them. And you, Joe, are a good parent, but you didn't want peanut shells on the living room floor." There was silence, long silence, and I thought my husband had done what husbands do when they don't want to talk about something. I thought he'd just gone to sleep, and I'd been talking to myself when a voice in the darkness said, "Do you think we could get 2? So we ended up with 2 adopted children. Both of our children carried neglect because neither had any known family. The first we got at 9 months. Believe it or not, at 9 months, the child has lost something it would have had if it had been in the arms of a loving mother and a loving father. That child did better than most, but she carried a genetic bomb. She was bipolar. We had no idea from her past that that was her situation. She didn't become what I had imagined my adopted child would be. She became herself. This child taught us many things we didn't know. She took me off my high stool of thinking I really knew what motherhood was about and showed me problems I never imagined that I had to tackle for the love of her. And God taught me through that child. For I had learned in my Baha'i faith that a child really belongs to God, not to the parents. And when we raise the orphan, it says, we are raising that child for Him. And every one of them belongs to every one of us.